Thank you. All right, the next question, we're going to start with Reed. Okay. What are your top areas of initial focus should you become a director?
I have a list.
Okay, go for it.
Unfortunately, it's not right in front of me. There's quite a few. I think communications, building the website better. We have no social media presence. Even though there may be an email blast. Dick, do you know how many people that are on that blast?
About
30 out of 5,500 homes. Doesn't sound very good, does it? It's horrible. I mean, we really have fallen, the past directors, I don't know, there's a lot to be done. The finances, as maybe has been brought up, are also dismal. Actually, we barely have, I think, some funds. What is it, about $50,000, Dick? And then there's also some obligations of other obligations, and then every year I think as far as trying to know more about the PVHA, we need to have like an email list where we can send out communications like our newsletters, let people know what's going on. This view situation is very important. We need to address that. We need to have the rights to have views. We can't have these disappear. It really affects our values. Those are some of the issues. I think I'm running out of a little time, this lady up in front. If elected to the board, I'm committed to making the needed changes to really improve the PVHA and make this a better communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Reed. Charles.
Thank you, Reed, for allowing me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Reed, for allowing me to pull up my list of activities. I have three major priorities, which if I am elected, I will continue to work on. So the first one is unify the community to be able to address future challenges. So realize that that's pretty broad. So how would I do that? Establishing forums to increase communication for community involvement and awareness of issues. Increase website usage. I think some of the other candidates have mentioned that. Increase publications and white papers to put forth solutions, proposed solutions, or proposed changes to rules. Continue the communications committee that's been formed and headed up by Dick. And continue the landscaping committee, the work that's being undertaken and headed up by Marlene. And then finally start the finance committee, which I will head up. Then, and provide more clarity in the CC&Rs, because right now the CC&Rs are somewhat nebulous. Then finally, restore financial health to the PVHA. We've run into a budget shortfall, as you've noticed from the financial statement. And so what I want to do is put together a 3-year plan.
Okay, thank you.
Address that.
Time is up. Sorry. Down to Marlene. Your top areas of initial focus.
Okay. As mentioned, I've been working on some of the landscape issues, which I hope to wrap up soon and get on to other things. One of the things that came out of that is we're looking to produce a little booklet about the landscaping in Palos Verdes and explaining to residents the proper care for plants, what historically has been used here, what are excellent replacements that will help preserve views, a lot of interesting things. If that is successful, we may move into the architectural arena and do something similar. So I'm really focused on the design aspects of the city, with how the city works in terms of urban planning. Community outreach is another biggie. We're talking about forums, but I also want to see fun stuff. I want to see things that will bring the community in and make us all feel good about where we live. And so I am concerned about the ADU and the JADU issue. I think it's really going to change the entire complexion of our city, and that's a very serious issue that's coming up. So any way that we can work with those. within our CCNRs to try and fight that, I am all in for that fight. Thank you.
Thank you. Gain.
So my top priority would be, number one, try to settle or come to some kind of an agreement over the current lawsuit facing the PVHA, which is more than $1 million. I think we really can't afford another bloody all-out war that takes 10 or 11 years and goes all the way to the California Supreme Court. There's no way. We just don't have the money. So that's number one. Number two, I think to do that is to go back to the original 1923 CCNRs. There is nothing vague. This is not nebulous. This is English, and I can read it. It's even at the second grade level. I can read it. So I think everyone else can read it, and you buy here, you get one of these. And I kept mine, and I've read it and reread it and highlighted in pink and yellow. And it's very, very specific. It talks all about enforcement and what I'm guaranteed when I buy a house here. So I would go to that. Then secondly, fiscal responsibility. I think we've got to get trimmed down those $850,000 legal fees we had last year, or the previous year, $140,000, the year before that, $110,000. That's not sustainable, even though I know the plaintiff lawyers like it. We can't afford it. Number three, and additionally, really carefully look at that budget. $84,000 for meetings and postage and all the envelopes and all this other kind of stuff. We've got to get online to save money. Thank you.
Thank you. Dick.
Well, first of all, I would like to get the view issue behind us. As I said earlier, I think we passed a bad resolution, and our meetings since then have been taken up with a tremendous amount of time has been taken up discussing the views that I think was a self-imposed thing by the board. We talk about communication. It's not going as fast as I would like, but we are going to improve the website. We do have the system in place for blasts. People just have to sign up. The thing that's probably, in my mind, bigger, though, than either one of them is to work with the city on the ADU issue and the JADU and some other issues that all relate to the California housing crisis and how the state of California is trying to dictate what goes on in the local communities. And we have to also get our hands around, continue to keep our hands around the finance situation.
Thank you. John.
I'd like to echo, I have a similar list here, and a number of the things that have been brought up are on my list as well. I fully agree that we need to fix this view policy by replacing that resolution, which took away rights of half our residents to pursue view blockage. I do think we should be pushing back on the state, which is trying to usurp our local authority on the ADU issue and some of the housing density issues. The Green Book mentions single-family residency many times in there. We can define what single-family residency, and we can stick by that. There's a lot we can do in communication, but I'd like to say there are three things that I haven't heard brought up that I'd like to mention I think are things we should tackle. One is I think we can improve the art jury proposal process by making it more transparent. It's not this guessing game, creating a design and showing to them, no, we don't like it, come back with something else. Publish what you're looking for with a tutor, publish what you're looking for with a colonial, make it easier for people. The second is maintenance of our parklands and trails. We have the right to demand that the city of Palos Verdes enforces removal of parkland encroachments and better maintain the parkland and trails, and we should put the pressure on the city to do that. And then the third thing, which we haven't mentioned, which I think is important, it's not sexy, but we need to digitize our records. All of our plans and all of our documents are through the walls here, and if this place burns down or is lost in an earthquake, we're going to have total chaos figuring out what it is. So we need to digitize that.
Thank you, John. Your time is up.